Classic, modern, hard, soft. Here's a great mix of sci-fi to read in 2023. Hello BookTube, I'm Jonathan and welcome to Words in Time. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing 12 sci-fi books I'm going to be reading in 2023. Now recently I made a video 6 sci-fi series I'm going to be starting next year. So in this video, I'm going to be focusing on 12 standalones. Or if these books are part of a series or universe, they can be read on their own. So let's kick things off with Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. A gifted scientist, Victor Frankenstein, succeeds in giving life to a being of his own creation. However, it is not the perfect specimen he imagined it would be, but rather a hideous creature, rejected by mankind. So I thought this would be a good place to start, going back to the start with one of the first classics of the science fiction genre, Frankenstein. And this is a story that I'm sure most of us are familiar with, but I've been told the book is more than just a monster story. There's a lot of ideas in it, it's really very layered, and I have the original 1818 version. I read online there's the 1818 and then the revised 1831 or 1832, and it seemed like most of the recommendations to go with the original text. So let me know if you've read one or both and which one you prefer. And this book was actually a gift from, I don't know who. The note just said it was from Santa. I'm very intrigued to find out who this gift was from because there was a note in it with a clue that I couldn't figure out. So if you are the person that sent this to me, A, thank you very much for the thoughtful gift, and B, feel free to take credit or just keep on sending me clues like a BookTube Riddler. Next on the list, we have Dogs of War by Adrian Tchaikovsky. Rex is a genetically engineered bioform, a deadly weapon in a dirty war. He has the intelligence to carry out his orders and feedback implants to reward him when he does. And all he wants to be is a good dog. Adrian Tchaikovsky is an author I knew I had to read more from in 2023 because I've read 2 books from him so far, and I liked Shards of Earth and I loved Children of Time. Dogs of War sounds like it has some kind of fun sci-fi concepts, and I've been told that if you are a dog person, then you definitely should connect with this book. So some of you may be familiar with channel favorite and one of my best friends, Charlie the Mini Poodle, so I'm sure that Dogs of War is going to be a hit with me. Third on the list, we have City by Clifford D. Simak. City is a series of connected legends, myths, and campfire stories told by dogs about the end of human civilization, centering on the Webster family, who designed the ships that took men to the stars and gave dogs the gift of speech and robots to be their hands. I read Simak for the first time this year with Waystation, and I found it to be very thoughtful, very emotionally driven science fiction. So I'm very much looking forward to City because I love robots, and as we've established, I love dogs. So a bit of a pet theme going on for 2023. So I'm excited to get to City and see how it lives up compared to Waystation. Moving on, we have Blindsight by Peter Watts. 2 months since the stars fell. 2 months of silence while the world held its breath. A space probe hears a whisper from the edge of the solar system. Whatever's out there isn't talking to us. It's talking to a distant star, or perhaps to something closer. Something en route. Blindsight is high on my TBR for next year because I love a good first contact story, and this one comes highly, highly recommended. It seems like a book that might not work for everyone. It seems kind of dark, kind of bleak, but if it does work for you, people really, really seem to like it. I know that it's one of Bookpild's favorite books, and I know it's Rachel from Shades of Orange, one of her all-time favorite books as well. So I'm excited to get to Blindsight. I think this one has all-time favorite potential. Moving on to number 5, we have Roadside Picnic by Arkady and Boris Strugatsky. Despite extreme danger, Red Shoeheart ventures illegally into the zone to collect mysterious artifacts left by alien visitors, and he'll keep going back until he finds the answer to all his problems. Roadside Picnic is another classic that I've had on my list for a while, and it seems like some very thoughtful and high-concept sci-fi. I actually ordered this and 2 copies arrived separately in the mail, so that may have just been a mistake, but I just want to check if anybody sent this book to me as a gift. They may have coincidentally ordered it just before I did and took it off my Amazon wish list, so if you did, let me know so I can say thank you. And one of my subscribers, Nick, he's such a massive fan of this book that he said it's so good I need to read it twice anyway, so perhaps that was a sign that he's correct. With our 6th book on the list, we have Diaspora by Greg Egan. By the end of the 30th century, humanity has divided itself into true Homo sapiens, Gleisner robots, and conscious software. A digital being, Yatima, searches for knowledge where the universe we know is just a speck in the higher dimensional vacuum. So this year I read Permutation City by Greg Egan, and it is hard sci-fi but with good characters, great story, and just absolutely nutty sci-fi concepts. So I knew I definitely had to read more Greg Egan in 2023, and I've been told that Permutation City is one of his more accessible books, so Diaspora might just absolutely fry my brain. And just quickly, if you love sci-fi, feel free to check out the link in the description to my Discord server, where you can use my face as an emoji and discuss sci-fi books. Moving on, we have Solaris by Stanislaw Lem. When Chris Kelvin arrives on Solaris, he finds a painful, unconscious memory embodied in the living physical likeness of a long-dead lover. Others examining the planet are plagued with their own repressed and newly corporeal memories. The scientists wonder if they can truly understand the universe without first understanding what lies within their hearts. Solaris is a classic that I'm looking forward to getting to because it sounds like it poses some pretty emotional and existential questions, which I really enjoy in my science fiction. I know this one is quite popular and a couple of film versions were made of it as well, so I'm looking forward to reading it and, if I enjoy it, watching those films and seeing how they compare. Up next we have Doomsday Book by Connie Willis. For Kivrin, preparing an on-site study of one of the deadliest eras in humanity's history was as simple as receiving inoculations against the diseases of the 14th century and inventing an alibi for traveling alone. For her instructors in the 21st century, it meant painstaking calculations and careful monitoring of the rendezvous location where Kivrin would be received. So Doomsday Book is a time travel story, and time travel is one of my favorite subgenres of science fiction. I believe this book focuses a little bit less on the mechanics of time travel and more on individual people and society as a whole. So I'm really looking forward to diving into this one. This is part of Connie Willis's Oxford time travel series, although I believe this does have a self-contained story. So if you've read it, let me know whether you think I can read this as a standalone, and let me know what you thought of the book and the Oxford time travel series. And for our 9th book, we have The Martian Chronicles by Ray Bradbury. This short story collection imagines a place of crystal pillars and fossil seas, where a fine dust settles on the empty cities of a vanished civilization. Earthmen conquer Mars and are lulled by dangerous lies of comfort and enchanted by the glamour of an ancient, mysterious native race. Quite a few years ago, I read Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury, and I really enjoyed it. I remember there being some big ideas and Bradbury being a beautiful writer. I know that sci-fi writers aren't typically known for their prose, so I'm really excited to jump back into some more Bradbury with The Martian Chronicles. And for our 10th book, we have Binti by Nedia Corafor. Binti is the first of her people to be offered a place at UMSA University, the finest institution in the galaxy. Accepting the offer means not only leaving her family, but to travel between the stars, bringing her within deadly reach of an alien race, the Medusae. So I believe the first Binti story was written as a novella, and then 2 more Binti stories were added in order to form this omnibus edition that I have, the complete Binti trilogy. I know the Binti novella won a Hugo and a Nebula, so I'm excited to see whether I love it as well. And with our second last book, we have Dying Inside by Robert Silverberg. David Selig was born with an awesome power, the ability to look deep into the human heart, to probe the darkest truths hidden in the secret recesses of the soul. With reckless abandon, he used his talent in the pursuit of pleasure. Then one day, his power began to die. Dying Inside sounds like a bit of a heavy read, a thematic read, and I enjoy reading a mix of sci-fi books, some that focus on the concepts and some that focus on the characters, which it sounds like Dying Inside does. Silverberg is another author that I know doesn't necessarily connect with everyone, but the people that do connect with his works end up really liking him. So I'm excited to read my first Silverberg book with Dying Inside. And just quickly before we get to our final book, if you are enjoying the sci-fi content on the channel, feel free to check out the link in the description to my Patreon memberships and check out some of the perks like being able to vote on my TBR and join video hangouts where we talk about sci-fi books, and some of you guys try to trick me into reading fantasy. Not gonna happen. Anyway, learn how you can become one of my robots, androids, or cyborgs like Nema and a New Eden. And lastly, we have Ring by Stephen Baxter. Michael Poole tried looping a wormhole back on itself, tying a knot in space and ripping a hole in time. It worked. Too well. Poole was never seen again. Then from far in the future came an urgent message. The universe was doomed, but humankind was not. The universe had a door, and it was open. Stephen Baxter is an author that gets commonly recommended to me in the comments, probably because you guys know that I like some hard sci-fi like Greg Egan, Cixin Liu, Alistair Reynolds, and Stephen Baxter definitely seems to be a bit of a hit with hard sci-fi fans. I believe Time is his most well-known book, but the premise for Ring just kind of jumped out, hooked me in, and hopefully this is a good place to start with Stephen Baxter. Let me know if you've read any of his works and which is your favorite. So there you go, guys. Those are 12 sci-fi books I'm going to be reading in 2023. Let me know your thoughts on any of the ones that you've read, and let me know which ones you might be interested in joining me for. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, subscribe. It's free, and you can find more sci-fi content over here.